There we go. So I spent the afternoon making a cording video. 3 hours almost. I mean, making cording is no laughing matter, especially when it's long and you have to unfurl everything. It's ridiculous. Oop, oop, oop. I'm having a good moment here. Okay. So, it's gonna be a little weird. So I have to record on my laptop so that our streaming issues don't happen like we've had in the past, where it just kept cutting us off and cutting us off. So when I go to make the template, I'm going to have to turn the camera to the computer top so you can see it. But I'm going to send everybody the link for the class on how to make templates with the open source program that you can upload. And I'll send that link as well. So, yeah. Okay. Now, I don't think we're going to wait to see if anybody else pops in. They can pop in when they pop in if they want to. And I'm going to set that there. Let me try to get my bearings for a minute. I seriously thought it was the 6 o'clock class. And so I was just finishing up what I thought would work. And I still had like 10 more steps to go when the alarm went off. So here's our Santa. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to put our fusible interfacing on the back of the fabric, which is going to be, velveteen. Now, we always use fusible interfacing because, especially with a velveteen, it likes to stretch. And when we go to stuff this, we don't want it to blow out the backside, and we want it to look nice and shaped and controlled and lovely. And it'll also help prevent little puckery marks that you might get with when we write it all out. Because we're doing full on, we're not doing like we did in the tree that I had done previously. We are full on just sewing all the way around it with the machine and then writing it. Now, I will say, I'm so high you can see the computer screen over there. And it is quite bright in here, so sorry, I used to my 6 o'clock lighting settings. So let's turn that down, which is, even though it's fall, it gets dark here at 8 o'clock at the height of summer. So one of the things you need to pay attention to when you're doing this is that which way the nap is, okay? You don't want to go against the grain. It's a pet peeve of mine. It might not matter to you, but it annoys me to no end when I grab onto something and I know it's velvet on the back, and velvet should go down, should be smooth as you touch it. So when I feel ornaments or pieces that have been done with the nap in the wrong direction, I hate it. So we know that that's down. And I use every last little bit of material, and I know I have plenty to fit. It'll fit on there just fine. When we when we put this on, it needs to be dry iron. That's why I like this iron. It's not very expensive at all. Don't waste your money on those horribly expensive ones at Joann's, and I just never, I tried that and they never lasted very long. So definitely try it says digitally activate. It doesn't really have it's the second step up. It's a Black& Decker, and you can turn this dial so that it says dry. And we're pressing it, we're not ironing it, okay? We're doing it in stages where you just press. And I put it on about 6 for heat. We want it to have a nice, even, no lifting. Sometimes if you're doing it on smaller pieces and you might have left the iron on a little bit longer than you maybe feel you should have, don't worry about it. As it cools, it'll stick. So what I like to do when I'm doing this is kind of give it that once over again. And then as it cools, just kind of gently, don't leave your hands on there long because it's hot, 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 hot. Because then as it cools, the glue will stick. You put a piece on and you go, oh no, there's a scudge on the back and I really don't want to waste this piece of interfacing. It's not as easy on velveteen, but if you put your iron on and reheat it, you can pull it off, right back off again. With velveteen, you might get a little bit of the nap pull through. So the piece is ruined anyway if it has yuck on the other side because, oh dear, I have glue schniblets everywhere. And look at that. There was kind of one right there, but it lifted off, thank goodness. So, little bits of yuck happen sometimes, and it's when it happens to the ones that you already monogrammed that will make you nuts. Why? Oh, I know why. Auto, yeah, makes the camera go crazy. So we'll do this very quickly. Diffuse that. And now I need to slide this under so I can not catch the pins as we pin it on. We don't need a ton of room at the top. You can see where the material's ending. So just make sure you have, I like to have an inch at the bottom, just a little extra for, it's always good to have a little extra. Sorry, I'm watching people out in the parking lot that should be empty. So I'm being nosy while I'm trying to teach. All right, so here are my pins. And oh, they best not be coming in here. Okay. It's a needlepoint group. Hi. Yeah, I have class going. All right. I'm sorry. Bye. Bye. A stitching group just got out at the nearby, and they're all coming over to hang out. So kind of ruined their, I think, a shopping spree down at the downstairs. Nah, I don't know what they're here for. Okay. So I have little bits of glue on pretty much all my needles, and it's only because of like the tote bag that we did last night. It had glue on the back side of it. And it's always the hot glue that's loves to leave that residue. Okay, so we have that all pinned together. That. And since I gotta change the camera once already, I'm just gonna do it here. Oh, I don't know. You guys are a pretty jovial group. Okay, so we're just gonna start. Okay. And I start right at the bottom stitch. Okay. And yes, I know my color thread doesn't match. It doesn't matter. It's fine. You won't even see it. And I need my infamous second set of glasses. And I'm keeping it right on, here's stitches, here's non-stitches. I'm going right along that edge. I do not take it in any extra. All right, so go slow. So as you take the curve, we stay right along the edge. And it's really hard to see where those curved stitches fall. Okay. Okay. If you need to, you could put maybe, like a piece of tape around the edge so you know where the barrier is. This is just very, very pale. Oop, oop, oop. All right. Let's see. I want to make sure that I didn't miss. Okay, I'm good. It just looks like it's not going through or hitting that edge of that green. And even though it's okay. Let's see. I've buried my scissors. All right. Turn that off. All right. So, gotta take those off again. On, off, on, off. All right. So now we're going to cut our 1/2 inch around. Get rid of all of this extra stuff. These are pretty simple. I mean, it really isn't that difficult of a piece, because you're just doing this, you're darting the edges, and then you are going to stuff it. So, all right. Let me move that over. And you know, if I go off camera, give me a shout. All right. All right. There we go. Okay. Easy squeezy. I think the thing that takes the most time is sewing the cording on and making your template. I think that's probably, you know, sizing it up and making sure everything fits okay. So I use Publisher, but the open source one that I have for you guys, I forget if it's called Apache or something like that. It is very similar and very easy to use. So if you need any help, I'm more than happy to do a call and we can share screen so I can help you with it if you need it. All right, so I'm going right up to the edge. Okay. All right, I gotta get rid of the bits, and I gotta put those silly glasses back on. What the heck? I don't know. Okay. And these are 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, just a little over 1/4 inch. Okay. So we have a bolt for our weight, and we are also using the 1/8 inch foam core that I always use. Sometimes I use the 3/16, and I will have the supply list on there tomorrow because I am delinquent. I'm running on fumes trying to get all this stuff done, so my apologies. All right. Everyone good so far? Any questions? You all good?
All good.
All right. You are there.
For what it's worth, I thought today was the 6 o'clock off. So.
See? Right?
You're not the only one.
Oh,
And
thank.
then my reminder popped up and I went, oh, okay, got it. I was home. This is a good step.
I was like, I wouldn't have seen it in another 15 minutes. I would have never, but because I was trying to make a little thing for the video that I put up, or that's uploading right now for the recording, I wouldn't have noticed it. I would have just walked right out the door because I don't have notifications on my phone that are loud enough for me to hear. So, especially when I try not to do it when I'm videotaping, but I have to now because sometimes if I freeze, somebody calls me, but I think I got that solved, Priscilla, so she was my go-to girl for helping me when I was freezing. It's why the weirdness of how I have to record it. I was just trying to get you guys the highest quality videos, and they weren't even that great for clarity. So it was like, ugh, that's the reason why? Boy, that wasn't worth it. But now we got that done. And I don't really do a ton more. I get them a little narrower together, but on a curve, more is always better. Sometimes if you see them come back and they have the buckles, it's because they didn't dart enough on the interior. And I know you're going, why are you doing the straightaways? Well, you have to do the straightaways when you're doing it stuffed, because then if it does need to flex out a little bit, it won't, it'll do a weird kink instead of being able to flex nicely, because this won't give. It's the same reason why I dart all the straights on a pillow. It's just worth taking the time. Now, I did make the cording for this on the video. And it's free to everyone, so you don't have to worry about that. So you can go in and watch how I made the cording for this and for a stocking that I made, and listen to me blather on for 2 hours and 47 minutes. Okay. There is, it's pretty easy, but at the same time, there's a couple of little things that you have to watch out for when it comes to putting the base on and making sure that these are even. Because sometimes if you stuff it and the material pulls down a little bit in the back, and you put the bottom on, you think it's straight across, but when you actually look at it stuffed, it's like pushing forward and the back's all puffed out, and that's solely because this fabric is longer than where the needle point is on the front. So, and I don't dart this until I'm done turning it right side out. Now, we're going to fold all of these forward, because when we stuff it, we want to try to get the stuffing to come between, we want to get the stuffing between these and this, because we don't want to feel this through the back side. It'll make sense to you. I'm sure you've probably seen some that you can see the fabric darts or the seam after they stuffed it. I try hard not to do that. It doesn't always work, but I don't go so far as to press it though. All right. I'm gonna get a little butter knife, the old butter knife that doesn't have the sharp tines on it. That's why I use this one to turn right side out. You have to be careful that you don't mess up fancy stitches, but also you have to be careful that you don't scar the velveteen when you're writing it. It loves to fold incorrectly. So we're gonna just kind of go, and I try to do it fast. Might seem silly, but I don't want it sitting there bent. Okay. So I typically put my knife against the back side of the needle point because I don't want to scar that that velveteen. All right. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. There. All right. So now, holding this, okay, in between your fingers, put the knife up inside and run it. You can feel where the notches are. I'm putting it on the back side of the needle point, and I'm just kind of pushing against the needle point so that it pulls that seam edge out as far and crisp as possible. Okay? I don't want to see any uglies after. I want to get that pulled so that that material is really nice. Now, I can see a little bit of waste canvas. I don't care. It's fine. It'll be fine. Now, did pretty good. But I'm going to show you a trick that I use with stockings. Turn our iron back on. And we turn our steam back on. Got to give it a minute. And what we're going to do is what I call finger or hand prep blocking. Let's make sure there's, and we're going to take care of some of this. See, we got some scarring there. And that's just because of when the material bends against itself. But that'll help. There's things we can do to alleviate that. I've seen some pretty ugly ones that needed some serious help that were just left. Okay. I'm just going to give it a quick steam. And let it cool. Okay. And it just kind of resets the sizing. All right. Now, we'll do the same thing here. And let's try to just smooth that. And then once we get it stuffed, we're going to do it again because it's going to help having that in there. Okay. That's not too bad. It's gonna make me crazy though. I'm gonna tell you. This is why I'd rather do um, a boxed or use a different material. But we can't let fear stop us from using what we know is a good material for what we're doing. We can't do that. So, okay. Let me think about what I need to do next. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to dart the bottom. Okay. And same thing, we need to keep the darts kind of close together because it's going to go around, it's going to be an oval on the bottom. Okay. Okay. Almost there. So if you've ever seen a stocking that came back and it was kind of, if you can always, it doesn't matter if it's sewn together already, you can do that little steamy trick and just pull it with your hands and it will, and just let it cool and it'll help set it again. Like if you, depending on how you put it away, just don't press it because, like, put the iron on it, just do the steam because you'll flatten your stitches and there's no way to bring them back up again. And you will be upset. Okay, all right. So we're gonna roll these edges under, okay? And it's like, I need the pressing board. I don't need the pressing board. I need the pressing board. So I'm going to, so all of these are turned under, like so. Now with this, we're gonna roll that under this, our velveteen. All right. And we're just gonna kind of finger press it. We're not going to do a hard press on it. All right. Because it kind of gives us an idea where the straight across is. So when we stuff it, we don't have an issue. And I know it looks like it's going down there. It's just the camera angle. Don't worry. And the fact that I haven't darted it. But we have a general idea now. And the other thing we got to do is I want that needlepoint to have a nice, just like we do on ornaments, to have that nice crisp edge. Okay? Yeah. All right. So now we're going to come in and take off the excess off that corner. Okay? And so we're kind of going to use that line, but you can also feel it right underneath where the edge is. So, okay, and you can put it like this, or you can flip it over. I usually do it like this. Sorry, sitting here scratching my nose, something tickling it. Okay, and we're going to, we don't have to go way in. I don't want you to go way in. Okay. All right. The part that's difficult to hide are these darts on the back side, but we'll do our best. It's funny, I keep looking at that, it's paint. I was at the florist on, when was it? Saturday. And we were playing around with some of the floral paint on some old hydrangeas, making them look antiqued. Okay. You don't want a lot of excess in these corners that you're going to flip up. It's a real pain to try to have those seams look nice and smooth. Okay. Sorry, I have two cameras stacked on top of each other so that one videotapes in front of me and you see the other one on the Zoom. So I apologize if it's going off for the Zoom, but it's perfect on the recording. Okay. All right, we're gonna get stuffing. You don't need to worry about that. So I'm using the Crafters dry polyester. The problem that can happen with this is when you stuff it, it can look like bumpy on the back. Okay, and we want it to look nice and smooth. We don't want to see all of that. But when you stuff anything, you have to be careful too. The edge of that mat, as I'm stuffing, could leave a line mark on the back of this. So be careful what you lay under velveteen. Even the schniblets will do it. Okay. All right. So this is really dry. It'll suck the lotion, the moisture right out of your hands. So we start just like always. And I'm gonna work this up under those darts. Okay, that's why I'm kind of using a thinner pieces. Okay, because I don't want to feel those on the back side. I'd say, you know, steam press them down, but the problem is when you go to write it, you don't want to create an issue. So this packs a lot. Okay. So if you want something that's a little fuller, use a standard. You can use a standard, but I like this because standard polyfill, But I like this because when I take my hand away, it's not refilling the entire thing, you know? Sorry, but that car outside, if you could hear it, little boop, reminds me of the clown cars that you hear at the circus or something. It's like, is that a real car? Okay, so I'm kind of doing a layer on the back to try to keep it nice and smooth, and then I'll continue to stuff on top in front of the needlepoint. By doing this, it lends it to, like I said, a little thinner profile. You can keep adding until you get the thickness that you want. If you want a little more puff to it, you can kind of, depending on how you stuff it, you could have one that has a big oval at the bottom that's real deep, so that you ultimately don't even really need a weight in it. Something this size usually will stand on its own and doesn't tip easily. But, you know, some people just want, you know, that little bit of extra just in case. I need my knife to get this up under, because I don't want this to look bumpy on the front either. And even though the needlepoint usually keeps it from doing that, it can happen, you know? Okay. All right. Let me see how it's. Okay. See, the problem that I'm feeling is I put a little too much fluff down. I'm about to here, right? And so now as I'm trying to fill up, it's resisting going up in between. It's just like, ooh, I wanna bind right onto that that's already there. No. So I'm gonna kind of hold this in my hand just like I did earlier to kind of get a nice roundish edge on it, right? Making sure it's not doing weird pucker edge. No, I'm not swearing. Right? I only do that when I burn myself or stab myself. Well, usually.
I stabbed myself, jabbed my needle well under my fingernail the other day, and my husband just looked at me like, "What did you just do?" Because of what flew out of my finger.
Yeah, it's those moments.
I can show you, but I love you. So
Yep, every time. Every
who
time.
knew finishing a needlepoint could be so dangerous?
Right? Oh man, between the glue, the X-Acto blade, oh my
Oh
goodness.
my gosh.
You
I'm
know.
really, see, my husband, I'm married to a wonderful, wonderful person. He cuts all my boards for me. I think because he says I've had enough stitches and he just doesn't think I can handle it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with you.
I'm all set. No ER tonight, thank you very much.
No.
Yeah, well, mine makes my cording for me.
Oh, see, mine, I told him I wanted him to make me a board with a cup holder thing. So my automatic cording thingy, I can set up on that and have it just sit and twist away for me once in a while. Or he'll use his drill.
Yep,
Yep.
that's
Any reason to break out the power tool.
well, then you show him my video because it shows you how to use the drill and just go, go, go.
Yeah.
Love it. Mine is a little drill though, because the weight of it, they have these big drills that'll, drive screws through concrete. I don't need that. Doesn't have to be that big. Okay. I feel lumps on the front and I don't like it. Back it out. All right. Stuff needs to behave itself, and it's not. It's my fault. I'm the one stuffing it. Okay. Let's see. Just keeping the back nice and flat because we keep it on the table. And I'm constantly pushing as I'm doing this to really make it a nice, even stuff. Let me see. Okay. All right. Making sure I'm still getting it under that edge. Okay. Now that we're getting a little further down, I'm gonna not stuff quite as hard. Maybe. Maybe not. I see that bump. Making me nuts. Okay. What I want to do is just take a whole bunch and cram it in there. But I know what'll happen. It'll get ugly. I'm trying not to let it ball up, but it's okay. We can always take the doll needle and break the ball, the lumps up. No cringing when I go through the front of the canvas, though. Well, you can cringe all you want. I do it all the time. Okay.
It's actually good to know, because that just means they're not as delicate as we think they are.
Oh, they aren't. That's, you try to. That's why when people are like, "Oh, I'm so afraid to make the first cut," don't be. You just, it's a woven piece of canvas that you've now interwoven a lot of decorative stitches, or even, oh my goodness, basket weave. Hello, so thick. And depending on the person, extra, extra thick. You don't have to worry about it, on when you cut the waste canvas away. You just want to make sure to leave enough you know. Two rows is just not enough, people. Because some of us like to block with plenty of, oof, we won't even go there. But, all right. Oh, you're a little lumpy. So, it can be hard when you get to the bottom because you think you don't want to do the stuffing, but you have to have it really firm at the bottom. So we're gonna stuff it even more after we put the base plate on, because you can't have somebody grab it at the bottom and have it be squishy. Okay. Okay. Oh, the sun is hitting the end of the barn and I'm starting to get warm. Okay. Okay, we're almost there, guys. At this point, I'm going to turn this under so that some of the stuffing will hold that. Where's my line? It's up here. Sorry. I don't know. I don't know. Hope I didn't just cut that too certain. Yeah. Thank you. And not because I don't want to take my sweater off at this point. Yeah. It's gonna get worse too. I know the sun is going down, but still. Heat on one day, AC on the other day. Sheesh. But now it's gonna get noisy. Good thing my face is right in my face is right in the microphone. Okay. I'm just not even gonna worry about that. The darts for the material, the backing. I'm keeping it under because it's just not gonna. And okay. Okay. In the future, don't do the darts when I did the darts. I'll try to put an insert on that or put a thing on there. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I may rescind that order in a minute when I put it on. I always freak out about something when I'm doing these. Okay. Now, at this point, we're going to change gears because now that we have it pretty much stuffed, we have to decide the shape of our base. So I'm going to try to work this in enough to get a good, accurate width. Okay. Yeah, I think we're okay on the back side. Ignore what I said earlier. Panicking. Okay. So we take, I love these because I can see right through it. It's going to be 2 3/4 by 4 3/8. Yeah. And we'll do multiples, okay? 2 3/4 by 4 3/8. If I don't write it down, I will forget by the time I move this camera over here so we can do the computer stuff. Sorry, don't look at that camera. Achoo! Oof. Gotta love the AC.
Bless you.
Thank you. That AC kicks up the dust and it's just like, oof. Okay. Yeah, that isn't gonna help. Hold there. There. Turn just a little. Would like you to see. It's just not gonna focus because I took it off autofocus. Come on. There. Kinda make it work, guys. Okay, so we come over to our ellipse. Would help if I put it over here. Our ellipse tool. It says oval. And we bring it over. Hold on, I gotta hit that again. The crosshairs come up. Okay, and you're gonna click and drag your mouse. Okay, then you right click on it and it gives you format auto shape. Then we go to size. Okay, and we're gonna do height of 2.75, width 4, oh, what's 3/8 in decimals? Yeah. I'm using the ruler at the top. Okay, so there is one. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to hit copy. Right click out of it, hit paste. We right click on it again. We hit format auto shape. And let's do size 2. Oh, there's the decimal now, 3.275 or 7272. All right, gotta cancel that. We're gonna have to do it old school, just like we did the last one. want to do this, which is 4 3/8. We'll go up to 4 1/2, and we'll go 2 5/8. Copy, paste. We're going to do one more. I know this is a huge sheet of paper, but it's the only paper that I have that is cardstock right now. And I'm going to do the 4 1/2 with 2 3/4 as well. Now it's going to be a pain. Boy, doesn't that wide angle make it look really super puffy? And it is so not. Okay. Hold on, guys. I gotta get this out of the printer. Okay, apparently it wants to take its sweet time. Thank you so much. All right, while we're waiting for that, I'm gonna get my cutting board back up here. Right. And my X-Acto blade. Sounded done. Not done. So this is what we're going to use for the weight. Okay, it's a 1-inch stainless steel bolt. Okay, and where'd my knife go? Okay. Okay, so now, what is, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's taking this long. So, now we know sort of what size it's going to be, so we can turn our iron on while we're waiting for this ridiculous thing. Okay. All right. Sweep this. We're going to press this for the base. Again, with the watching the direction. Okay, I know that that way is down. Okay, and so I make the nap smooth from the front to the back. Okay. And what'd we say? 4 by, we'll say 3-ish. So let's just do, so we'll say 5 by 3. All right, if I cut it here, it'll be fine. Okay. I did not think I printed that much. What the heck? Hope it's not printing something old. I wonder, is that 5? Yeah. Perfect. All right. Dry heat. Make sure we don't. And we press. Oh, listen to that. It printed. Whew, that AC was a saving grace. Just the, plus the sun's going down, so that doesn't hurt either. Okay, so that's done. I can pull this back forward. Go back and get my printed piece. Okay, so rule of thumb, you have to remember the reason why we turned in. You don't want it to fit too tightly. We turned the material in because we have to make our piece small enough so that after we wrap it with the fabric, it'll still fit in there. So sometimes you think, oh, this piece fits perfect in here, until I put material on it, and now I got to take the material back off again because it's the last piece I have, or you know, whatever ridiculousness that befalls me on that day. Okay, that's not. All right. And yeah, I do it by scissor. I don't do it by. And you can kind of adjust if you decide that, you know, you don't like one because it's just not wide enough. You can always stuff it a little bit more and give it a little extra base. You know, it doesn't have to have that uber skinny profile like I just made this one. Okay, so we put this here. Okay, kind of push this back under because that stuffing loves to come back out again. All right. We do not want this to be too tight. Look at that. I think that's perfect. Just enough gap, right? It's got just enough gap to fit that. And this was, which one was it? The 4.5 by 2 5/8. Never know. Okay, so now this piece is plenty big enough. Take that. Oh yeah, you can hardly see the turnout boo-boo with the fabric. Okay. Okay. Now we're just going to trace around it. This is going to be the bottom. The side that you cut, the side with the pencil, is what is going to be down. Okay? And the reason being is that when we bevel it, and yes, we're beveling it for a reason, because when we turn that material to the inside, it keeps it away from that edge. And because if you don't bevel the edge, we're just knocking it down a little bit. Then what can happen is you can see the thickness of the foam through the material on the back. It'll kind of, if you didn't, when you cut it, if you didn't keep it perfectly perpendicular, or you bowed out a little bit so that it had an unintentional outer bevel, then it's just not going to fit right and you're going to not love it. So whenever I try to cut, I come in from the outer edge. Okay? And I just pull it around. Like so. Okay? Just chop away at it. And I do hold it at a slight angle so that potentially I don't have to bevel it. I'm just keeping it in a little bit. We aren't trying to round it like we do for the ornaments so that it has this fine edge, because we have gutters that we have to attempt to not fill. Okay? Try to really stay on that line. Okay? And when I look at this, that's coming in. So I think I'm just going to take off this edge. Okay? I just don't want to take a chance. If I don't do it, then I'm going to see it. I'm going to go, I don't even have to do that. That's habit. Okay, so that is, it doesn't really matter at this point, because it's when we put it on that we have to make sure it's the right way. Okay. You might be tempted to draw a line around this and then take this off and do the darts. If you're using velveteen or you're using ultra suede, don't do that, because when you do a pencil line, it'll make a line on the back side because it's now crushed your velveteen. All right? So that, and I'm just going to kind of run around this edge. Oh, forgot to do something, didn't I? I did. This, I'm gonna teach you a trick about ovals, okay? Ovals are evil, okay? They just are. You need to trust me on this. Um, what I should have done is I should have put a straight line, like a crosshair, in a hunter scope, because it would give us the exact 2 places to mark off where our seams should be on the sides. It's very easy to get your oval to skew. It's horrendous. I do it in any time I make an oval ornament, because and you'll look at the canvas and go, why isn't it on there right? Why does it look wrong? And it's because sometimes even the designer that did the oval moved the stitches over 2 stitches at the bottom, and so the center isn't the same at the bottom as it is at the top. So let's see if I can kind of put it in there. All right. I don't know that I can at this point. All right. Let's see if I can do the taco way. Okay. Oh, that worked. Okay, we got it to work. Okay, but now it's tricky because we have to, yeah, that's right. We have to mark it off like that. And like that. Because we already cut the bevel and there's no way to do that. Okay? Excuse me while I stand up and look straight down at it to make sure I'm hitting both pencil marks. Okay? I gotta offset it just slightly for the lead size on them. Okay? So that's as close as we're gonna get it. Alright? Okay. You can kind of see where I was holding it in my hand. So on material, you don't have to cut way in, okay? You can leave about 1/8 of an inch when you do the darts. We talked about this earlier, okay? So just do 3 darts like so. Now I know that's not in center. I don't care about that part right now, okay? I just want to get that tab, dart, whatever, okay? I want to get that glued down, all right? Because I don't want this to shift in your hand and have it get off kilter. The way I do it, it doesn't shift because of how I do it, but for you guys, I don't want it to be an issue. So we're going to do 3 more darts at this end, and that'll get it tacked down. And I want you to do all your ornaments this way from now on when it comes to the backing material as well. You'll be much happier than the way I'd shown you before. Okay? Because you'll still be able to get your curve around that you need. It's a little opposite because of what we're talking about, but we're going to do it here too, because you could do this side with a dart and darts and glue it and pull. You go around on this side and you dart it, and then you pull it some, and now you can see you've cut too close because the darts are now visible on the outer edge. Okay. Okay. And do that. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So now that those are all put down, you can just keep going and dart your edges. So while I'm doing this, I will kind of talk to you about the cording in the respect of this is something that I advise, do not use glue to cord, to put the cording on with. It's soft and it's not that it won't hold up. Yeah, it is that it won't hold up. It's that if people touch it, they pick it up from year to year. You just don't take the chance with it. You want it to be cinched down nice and tight, so this is why we just sew cording on soft things. And especially with the cording I'm using because it's fuzzy, and I don't know how well that would work. Okay, so just take your finger, give it a second, start there, push it up. I like to do that whole round over thing when I'm doing curves because it pushes all of that material up at once and gives it a nice, you don't have kind of some of the uneven, weird darts. Okay? I'm going to do a couple here at the end. Okay. All right. If you ever have put something down that doesn't lay quite the way you want it to, but the glue is already kind of cooled, then I just want you to put the tip onto that area of the glue gun on the back here and reheat it a little, and it'll pop right back up. Ah, yeah, hot. Hot, 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 hot. Okay. Dust myself off for a second here from all the glue schniblets. Now, let's look and see how she fits. Okay. just like that. Now, some of this space will be taken up by cording on both ends. And I think we definitely need to stuff some more, because if we don't, we'll have a weird outy lip there. See? So, but that's all, you know, like the last bit. So, Kelly, what weird thing are you doing there? Well, I am making space for our bolt. Okay. And, okay. It's gonna look kind of weird. But I want the weight to all be on the bottom. Okay, I don't want it to go, you can do it up in like that, but if it's like that, it's really straight across there. So just to try to kind of get it to sit there for a few minutes while we put some there. Okay. Doesn't take long. Now you might say, well, is that still going to fit? Because, you know, you're sitting here burrowing out this hole and now it looks a whole lot bigger. Yeah, we're going to push it if we have to make it, we make it fit. Okay, so look at this. That's how it lays. That's the nap. I want to try to kind of keep it a little even. Oop, I got my finger in the glue. The glue is really kind of just to sort of keep it there for a minute. Okay. Now, pins, pins, pins. What's funny is I had a box of, there they are, brand new pins. I mean, yeah. Okay. So, you know what's hilarious? Where the flibbity gibbets is my line. Okay, we're going to take a pin and put it here. And we're going to take another pin and put it on the opposite side. Okay? Doop, just like that. All right? Okay. Look at that. Right on. Okay. So put the front side and try to kind of keep them, the pins like this, so we can set it down and look at it from the side and make sure that the way we're stuffing it is not making it longer, the material longer in the back. My hair is itching my face and I was starting to freak out that it was a bug. Because this time of year, they love getting in the barn. Okay. Put you there. You there. Okay. Woohoo! Look at that. Alright. It didn't. So yeah, we gotta do a little stuffing. And now I'm gonna switch gears because I don't want this to become this big lumpy mess. So I think I'm gonna use the Featherweight Smooth stuff, the Ultra Foof stuff. That won't catch on the other stuff. Oh yeah, I think that's a very smart plan. So I use, and I'll put this on the supply list. It is polyfill, but specifically it's silky. Don't fall for the other, look for the picture, because don't fall for the other one that has the purple label. Because there's another one that says super soft or something like that. No, 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 no. Wrong. They fooled me once, not happening again. And boy, was I annoyed. Okay. Not too much or it'll bulge. Ooh. That's the only thing about this stuff. It's so foofy that it leaves trail marks of the fluff. Okay. Okay, I still feel right inside. That edge that I can push in, and it's that little ridge. Okay. So you just want to kind of just inside. I'm telling you, this for pillow fluff like changed my world. Stuffs into the corners, doesn't come compress too much, and kind of expands back, but not the way standard polyfill does. It's lovely. And now I'm going to kind of pull some of it back up to fill in those areas. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That works. We had a couple little bulgy spots there. Little cellulitis. Cellulite. Okay, so what I do is grab just a little bit, okay, because I don't want to see puncture marks all around the back edge, because sometimes it's not very forgiving. But The lucky thing is we are using the soft and foofy cording. It's got fuzz to it. So, oof, why aren't you going in? Wow. Okay, it's the pin. Jeez, bending my phone cord there. So what I try to do when I do these is, because if there's a little bit of gap that is there, because it's maybe a little smaller now, the base is because we've now added some more fluff, right? Makes sense. But at the same time, I don't want to take it out. And so, wait, I think everybody's gone.
I'm clear, I'm just trying to decide how I can get my cellulite to smooth out.
Right? No, I meant the people that were downstairs. Not you
Okay,
guys.
that's good.
I know, I think the same thing. If it was just so easy for humans as readjusting, or, can we, it would be lovely. All right. Because that's what it reminds me of is, I mean, I grew up in the 70s and polyester pants were not forgiving
Oh,
at all. Oh my
yep, yep.
goodness.
I definitely can relate.
Um, because I was just astonished as a kid. I was like, do you see the commercials on for when they did underalls,
Mhm.
pantyhose? And I was just laughing the other day because my daughter, who's 22, she is really into vintage fashion and fashion history. And so she was like, did you know that tights weren't made until da 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 da? I was like, yes, dear. Yes. I know all about the the era
I
of
don't know that
tights,
our pantyhose used to come in an egg.
right?
Yep.
Or that, you used to have to wear garters. They weren't made for some, Victoria's Secret thing. They were actually made because that's all there was.
Yep. It served the purpose.
Right? So yeah, she was just funny. And I was like, "Oh, honey, you have no idea." Um, oh, come on. Okay, now we got to do some stuffing on the front. Like I said, we can go back in and if it's a little too lumper. But I am like, I'm so compulsive. So I'm sorry if you're like, oh my gosh, Kelly, just move along. But it's just this compulsion of, I just want this perfection that sometimes working with certain things, it just isn't that easy. But there are always ways to make it work. I'm kind of debating now after all of this. Gosh, maybe I should have just used this on all of them, but I think it'd be too soft. Because you just can't compress it the same way and get that really nice, firm, stand-up kind of feel. Oop, 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 oop. What are you doing? Come on, get in there. I can feel a lot bigger void on this side. Don't know why, but I do. It's just like filling up. Gosh, I wish I'd known that she was leaving. I would have said, turn the AC off. See, now I know one of you is in the Midwest, Priscilla. And where's everybody else? I didn't peek at your to see if I had any West Coasters on tonight. That's why I've been doing the 6 o'clock thing, because I want to try to make sure that I do a time when people on the other time zone can catch it.
I'm Thursday.
Oh! You guys did okay?
You did okay.
Okay, good.
10 miles from us, you're okay. Just make sure heart and brain will see it. But
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Growing up in the Midwest myself, there were times where we had some really bad tornadoes come through that just, and they seem to follow the road, and just probably from usually the heat and convection. So yeah, it just wipes away entire farms, and it's like, oh my God.
yeah, I
Where?
grew up in Illinois, so
Oh yeah.
I can relate. Lots of afternoons in the basement with the
Ugh.
tornadoes going on.
And the stupid drills at elementary school. So, Kim, where are you from? What,
I'm from the Los Angeles area.
Oh, so you're able to, okay. So it wasn't too early. You're probably going, it would have been better if you had been at 6.
Wasn't bad at all.
Oh, good. Good. I hope you guys are. I feel bad because, I know it looks like I'm being uber fussy about it, but, you just gotta make sure that, because this one's for a store. This one isn't for a friend. A personal friend that, and I wouldn't even do that on a personal friend's. I'd make sure that it was as perfect as I could get it. But for a second there, I was panicking that I put it on the wrong way. that the nap was. It's like, why is this going so? Yeah. That stuff sticks to everything. I have to take tape to get it off. Okay. I'm afraid if I do much more, it's going to get really misshapen at the bottom. That's that soft stuff, Here, let's move some of you and pull you back up. I love my dowel needle. I use it all the time, and when I can't find it, I kind of throw a little hissy fit. Now, if I grab hold of it after and I can still feel it, I'm going to come back through with the dowel needle and pull the stuffing down into areas that I might feel a void. I might try to find one of my little thinner profile one. think it's interesting that these pins that I bought, not all of them have that great of points on them. It's like, you're brand new. I should be able to put you on and just sink away, but no. Okay. Let's see how we did vertically. All right. Well, that camera's a little better. You guys can see. That's pretty good. Sometimes I've put them on and the back side was too short and it looked like this. And the bottom's like flat. And then I've had them be too big in the back and it's tilted forward. You can manipulate them a little bit, but if it's way off, it's just really, really obvious. All right, let me see if I can. It's not going to spin. I'm pushing my luck with my camera, so I'm going to just, there. That shows it. Stands up straight.
That was awesome.
And the it's basically, you can see a little bit of it in the light, but not much. It's just because you just keep smoothing it, working with it. I see a little bump out there, but I'm not gonna fuss about it right this second. Next, okay, so it's gonna start blowing the lighting out. Let me see if that helps. Okay, I think that's better. Yeah, it's not even 6 and we're already pretty much at sunset. All right. I think I'm still thinking we started at 6 because I looked at that and I went, it's only 6? Okay, so now we got to get our fishing line. We're going to do the bottom first, so we got to sew the bottom on, so we don't need a huge amount of fishing line. Going to get my it's stuck tight right in there. So that's a piece of leather that's an oval shape that, you know, everybody knows these are the paper. You use them in an office to collate. Okay, rubber grippers. Now you do have to be careful using, these are great for getting that fluff off, but you do have to be careful using these when they're brand new like this, because this will rough up the velveteen and can sometimes do the scarring thing. So we just have to be careful as we're doing it. Okay. There, yeah. Yeah. Put the dark side to the back, you camera. The Zoom does the auto and I can't turn it off for the exposure. Okay, so this is how I do knots. Ready? Go around. 1, 2, 3. Bring the knot through. Okay? And then make a loop again. And when you do the loop, hold it, okay? Hold that knot right there under your fingers. 1, 2, and I think that was 3. And you kind of pull gently and work the knot towards all of that, towards the main knot. Okay, and it makes a nice big knot. They use that to tie on fishing lures. So now we're going to cut that little tail end off. We're going to do it with some glue because now it will not pull through. Okay. Now I got fluff on my thumb thing. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, more than likely you've seen that what I do when I bring fabric together is like when I'm closing a pillow or something to that effect, I'm going to grab this way on the material, okay? Because I want to push that in and pull it towards this base, all right? So I do the same with the needlepoint, okay? And we're going to come in. I'm going into the base, coming out right on the base edge as well. Okay. Remember to leave a hole for your cording. And our cording's not that huge, so we don't have to leave a huge hole, but we definitely want to leave it so it can come in and end at that juncture seam. And I hate dark fabric. I mean, I love it, but at the same time, because velveteen absorbs the light, it can be very difficult. And if I used my swing arm spotlights as well, yeah, you wouldn't be able to see anything on this camera. Okay, so here we go. We grab, and just a tiny bit, I want you to come just right through there. Now it'll be different when we're grabbing the needlepoint, and this is what makes it slow, is because of the pins. Make sure you're not scarring the fabric against the edge of the table. Been there, done that. Okay. And now we go into the base, and we do the same little catch. And I believe it's a ladder stitch is what they call it. And I totally just took my needle off my thread. Once I get this turned a little, we won't be in those as much. Okay. Okay. It looks like a Great Pyrenees cat, or a Pyrenees dog, sorry, has been rubbing all over the bottom of this thing. So we grab a little fabric. Yeah. Okay. Now we grab a little base fabric. The smaller your stitches, obviously, the better the bottom seam is going to be, and the seam is going to be nice and smooth. Try to make sure to go straight across when you're doing this. Okay. Grab a couple there. take that one out. We want to keep trying to keep a little bit of pressure on that thread so that it doesn't loosen up too much. Okay. Trying really hard to keep it away from those pins. It just doesn't love it. And back. It goes much faster through the needlepoint. The back is the drudgery. Okay. And I'm trying to keep myself very good and not try to do my little wheedle the way through, because I want you to see sometimes I'll take big chunks and I'll go along and I'll do my one through and done, and it just really needs to be done this way. Using a straight needle, a lot of people use them and say, you know, oh, I don't have any problems, you can't see my... You just can't get the angles to have it disappear the way that you do with a curved needle. I know it's a drag, but by the time you're done, you'll probably be able to give stitches to people if they need them. My family jokes about it. They're like, we're set. We won't need to go to the ER. Mom can just stitch us. I'm like, I don't think so. Have you seen how big my needles are versus how tiny the ones that are at the hospital? Crazy. So a weird thing happens when you're trying to put the cording on. If you don't have small enough stitches and you get your cording on, it can kind of pull against the same fabric as you're doing it and pop some of these out. That's one of the other reasons why you need to make sure that you use smaller stitches. I think I'm doing like 1/4 of an inch, so they're not that small. Could be much tinier. I knew it. So I have actually caught a pin like that, and it was so close to where I was working, I didn't catch it, and then I had to go back, cut that thread, and knot it so that it wouldn't unfurl everything I had just done. And that's what happens when you rush. And it's usually when you have like a really long piece so you don't notice how short it got all of a sudden. Sorry, the neighbor drives by my barn window and says goodnight when he sees me up here. So he was just honking out there. Okay. Alright, don't forget we gotta jump a hole. Leave a hole there for our cording. We're just about there. Okay, so I am going to put after, because I don't want to, after I jump the seam, I'm going to put a knot. Okay. So it doesn't pull against as I'm putting in the cording, so it doesn't pull against it too much. Okay. And stretch the fishing line at all. Got a little bit of skin under there. There. All right. Yeah, I see a spot right here. Need a little more there. So I'm coming in through the front of the needlepoint, going up on just on the back side of that, okay, edge. Hold on a second. Okay. Well, that did nothing. Okay. A little. Okay. was just trying to get it to stop doing that low light thing because it's decreasing the focus. For you guys, at least. Alright. So we ended on the back side there. So we come in, grab a bit here. And do the same thing there. Coming up through that. The needlepoint canvas is so much thicker. We can grab there, run the needle inside, do the same pull thing that we did, right? Come back. It's nice because you can just kind of hold it against it with your finger. So I went into the backing of this base and then came out to try to minimize my amount of stabs. Eventually you figure it out of where you can. So I'm coming out here, but then I'm dropping it back in and pulling it back around like that. So one move instead of two. I'm frozen. Hold on, guys. Alright, I have to go back out and back in because my main camera froze. I'll be back, I promise.
Okie dokie.
Sure. Assign and leave. Come on. Oh, it froze. Oh. Okay. Alright. Sorry about that. Alright, let's get cranking along with this. Out. Just back to doing the ladder stitch. I'd rather have it be. Oh, yeah. Come on. I'd rather have you guys be able to see. Than have that low level light dropping out. Because my dark pants. Go in through here, out through the back. Grab the bottom. Okay, so that kind of rolled in. Just pull it back with your pin. Ugh. Gotta knot it off. And I can't hold it up there. Come on. And when I end a knot, I always take it and run it back through. So there's a long tail, so there's no stress on the knot from pulling. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Alright. My goodness. Crummy stuff. I have to take tape to it in a minute. Okay. So here is our furry trim cording that I made from a yarn that I love from Hobby Lobby. Now, when I do this, you may be tempted to start here, go around, and then go around the bottom. But that leaves a weird, hard turn on this, and it can be hard to cover that up. Even though that's inside, you still see that kind of weird turning point. Okay, so what I do is, I have to think about it for a minute because I have to make sure that I go up it this way, so when I'm stitching, it on, the fishing line is always on the back side of the needlepoint piece. It's on so that if any boo-boos happen where it doesn't get all the way in between the twists, you can't see it. It's really hard to see it on this furry yarn. And I'm going to take a pretty decent piece of this. I probably will have to change thread on the way around. Again, make the loop. 1, 2, 3. Hold on to the knot. 1, 2, 3. Pull it down. Okay. So what I do is I go across the bottom, usually the front, first. Then I go up the side, down this side, and I end on the back. So you're coming in at a better angle to begin and end the piece. Okay, and then the other issue is that if you go all the way around, when you meet back up with that piece at this end, is there? You got to plan your holes better, or how you come around. I was going to say, oh, this stuff is fuzzy and it's getting in my nose. I apologize. I was thinking that it would make for a larger hole having to be done because of the size of the cording. Like if they both began and ended there, but they don't. So forget that part. You can do it that way if you want, where you go up that side and around. I just find it is a little more difficult and kind of clumsy. So I got to put this in here. And this is where, when in the video, if you want to fast forward to just this one so that you don't have, to go through the whole video. This is where having those glued ends when you make cording is kind of essential. It just makes life so much easier when you're trying to put something in. Come on, you. I say that, it's going to give me a problem, Open that hole up a little bit. Okay. And this is also another reason why I don't fuss too much about the bulgy bulges. You try to minimize them as you go. But as you go around and you manipulate this, and you're going to have to kind of squish everything so that everybody goes back to the way it should. And it also makes a difference when you add the cording on how the sides appear. Like, where did my needle go? Oh yeah, it's in my pants. Because, it's the third arm. Alright, so we put the needle in. There. We have it come up on the back side. Majority of this cording is going to go in and out the seam of the needle point. The reason being is that sometimes it can cause pull marks on the back side of the fabric, so I don't do it with every hit. So now we're going right in between that twist, and I always lay, when I put this in, it's going to lay diagonally into that twist and hug it right down. I know it's hard with this white cording to see it, but there is a video that I did of how to put twisted cording on tight, and it shows it a little bit with a bigger cord, and you can kind of see it a little bit better. So we make sure to pull it tight. It's going to relax a little when you let off on it. And now I'm going to grab the needlepoint canvas. Now I'm coming up in the back. Okay. But we don't have to worry about the pull too much, but with the velveteen, and because of that, it's good because it keeps the cording right on that seam because it's balanced with front, back, front, back, front, back. Sometimes, you can't pick. You got to use something that's more of a satin because it's a better color. Taffetas really tend to have that pull when you pierce the weave. And sometimes it doesn't look like I'm making much progress, but it's because I go back and I lay so much fishing line down to make sure it's pulling it tight to the piece. Again, because it's handled a lot, well, not necessarily handled a lot, but it is soft, we want to ensure that it stays right up against it. We don't want anybody seeing any boo-boos that we might have. I mean, I got them on this. You can see the waist canvas on this one side. You can. And up through the back. The other thing you have to be careful of is not hitting your sewing machine stitches when you're sewing this onto the seam, because if you break one of them, it'll rip. The seam will pop open, and I've had it happen, obviously, because I mentioned it. And talk about panic. It's just like, because it's just the bag of potatoes that just let go. Poof. Alright, so we have to be careful not to close this hole that we left for cording, because that's where our cording is going to come back in and live. So what we do, an end, that might make a little more sense to you. So this is the beginning of that hole. I can kind of see it. Alright. There. And when I come up, I'm going to come up on the seam. This is where I'm going to do to the needlepoint canvas, and I'm running it on the back edge between the waist canvas and the needlepoint. Okay. Boop. And now grab it, and we put the needle right there so it tacks it right on that corner. And we just come up there, so when on our next stitch, next stitch, it's going to give us that squared corner. Okay. Kind of panicking because it always seems like it's velveteen that I bust the seam on. I was like, don't do it, don't do it. Okay. So as you're going, make sure that your twist stays the same, the segments stay the same size. You kind of have to twist it tight as you go, because if you just keep going, it sometimes will naturally untwist as you're just going around. It's weird. I don't know why it does it, but it's annoying and it does it. And it's hard to tell with this because it's so white and so fluffy, you can't see where the twists really are. Especially in this lighting. It's like blowing it out. Poof. Going in and out right on that seam. Okay. Like I said, this stuff really hides sins because of its fuzziness. Could I do a thinner cording? Absolutely. If you don't like it this thick, you don't have to make it this thick. This is just kind of the thickness I do cording. Thought I heard something pop. That's when you very quickly grab pins and get them and pinch it together with your fingers and go back and forth and do the ladder stitch like we did at the bottom, if you're wondering what you do when that happens. You're just grabbing a pin and feeding it through the back side, or actually through the front side onto the back, and pulling it back under and stabbing it right down into the fluff. Okay, I gotta move forward. I got my sewing machine under here and it's right where my feet need to be. Just worried about this mat. Okay. It's kind of hilarious because I was gonna do green cording on this, and then as I was talking about all the different things and what you can use and you can't use, and I'm already unfurling the green, unwinding the green pearl cotton, And all of a sudden I just went, oh, wait. Because I had mentioned it prior to this, and I went, I could use the fuzzy on this. It was hilarious. It's like, yes, much more fun. It's the little things. I'm going to be hitting my hand here. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Okay, so that's there. So when I come in, I come back to there, which you can't even see because it's blowing it out. So I come back that far to there. So it lays down nice and flat. That's why I'll end up doing how many pieces of fishing line on this, because I just go back so far so to ensure that there's a huge piece of line there making it lie against the piece. Okay, let's end that. And I do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. Where the heck? Thread came off the needle. Let's try that again. Fine. Okay, there's one. And then pull it through, long tail, cut it off. Okay. Fishing line. Come on, Bumpenstein. Almost there, guys. Okay. See a little dent right there that I'm not. Loving. Okay. Ah, I can see my blue knot. Thought I had it in the seam, but apparently not. That's what I get for not pulling that back further. Oh, my glasses look especially crazy in here. In the zoom camera. Okay. There. All right. Pull some of that fluff out to camouflage, just in case. All right. Okay. It's got the cording to sit on now. I don't have to worry about the edge of the mat. Yeah. Never noticed that before. My computer. Didn't used to have a big red line around it when it was recording. I hope that okay, it is on. I was gonna say, if my microphone is off, I'm gonna cry. Because I tested it beforehand. I meant the one that's actually recording the. Now that it's on 2 different systems, and Priscilla can attest. I was.
Everybody's been like, wow, she really was talking to herself, but she's very quiet.
Right. uh, that poor tray insert. No sound because the reset and I didn't know, and that's what happens when you make the assumption that your mic is working. Oh well. We've got another one to do very soon. So when you have the waste canvas that shows, like what I'm doing now, you have to be careful as you're coming up through it, because sometimes the waste canvas will start to bend up when you're pulling like I am right now, right there. And you don't want to take a chance of having that lift, because there is only a 1/4 of an inch, but if you're close to a dart, then it could be a very short area of canvas on the inside from the waste canvas, and you could pull that right up. So, if you want to be safe and you go in 1 stitch, but don't go in much more than that, because what will happen? You get thick seams, because then you start turning over larger areas of your stitching. I'd rather have to deal with being careful in an area like this than to stitch in to the piece and turn more rows under. There really isn't a reason to have to add extra rows to anything. What I do is, if this had like a blue edge border that they wanted to keep on here, I'd probably do a blue edged cording to emulate it further, so that when you see the little bits peeking through, it just carries it around. But most people know that if you want to see a border, you better put, and it's on the edge, you better put an extra 2 on if it's only 2 stitches, because it will partially get covered by, potentially by cording. Not that it's buried, sewn under, it's just, it can be buried by the cording that's put on, or the piece of trim, or something like that. Definitely never do an extra 2 rows around any of my 3D things because then I can't put them together. Then it's rip them out. All right, so I'm going to show you one of the things that happens as you're sewing around these, and we don't care if we close up that hole. We kind of want to, so that's okay. All right, now I'm back at the bottom, so back to the not so great focusing blowout. So here I am at the seam. It's a little on the interior of the, it's on the base, right on the edge in that material, so that I can come into that twist, and I'm putting it in the needle point. I'm catching just that corner, okay, because I want it to really hold tight to square it off. This being puffy, we don't want to, we want it to have a little, we don't want it to be too rounded when it comes around that corner. We want it to be right on. You want to come up a little in the front, because if you don't, it can pull under the stand up, and then it's not the same height. But it's going to be the same height just because this is lifted up. That cording's lifting it a little higher anyway. Okay, that's nice and tight. I am cutting into my finger on my pinky. Thank you, fishing line. I usually have a little cuff that I put on. Another one of these grippers, but with the tip cut off. But I forgot. Okay. Going into the bottom. It's right on the edge of that seam. I want to come up a little bit. Oof. There is a piece of fluff or something in that. Now when we finish it up, we have to tie off the end. So we lay it like this, so we can see how far we need to bring it over. And I'm going to knot it, put a knot, loop, and then knot it just past that. We're going to use that as our marker. Okay. We don't want it to be too much, because if we do, then we got to try to jam that all the way down underneath, and that can be a challenge. So the other thing is, I just thought of, when I go to clean this off of this velveteen, you have to be very careful that you don't use too sticky of like a tape, because it will pull the nap out. And that's all we had left. Not too bad. That's some springy stuff. And no, I don't save all the little bits. Alright, foof this. Get that hot glue sunk right in. As if that fishing line lets go, I don't want to take a chance. So I take my pliers. I usually use my fingers, but I don't want you doing that because I don't want you to burn yourselves. I have some flat paddled ones, but they're buried in the in-person work boxes, and I forgot to grab them before class. Okay. And now we're just going to trim off the excess. Make that a little smaller profile. Okay. Where's my needle? Okay. Where's the hole? Hold. It's right there. So as you're really pushing to get that in, if you don't have that, if that fishing line busts, then your piece starts to unfurl and you're in trouble. So that's why I like to have the glue on the end when I do that part. Now, let's just finish this off. We'll go through and do a couple down needle things if we need it. Okay, like that. Right. That. That's nice and tight. I am going to bring it. Let's put put it up here and see if I can get a little better shot of it. It's not going to get better. It's better on the other thing, on the recording, so refer back to that. So coming up through there, and this is through the tail end that's in. Okay. That. I have to turn it back around. Come in through that piece of, hold on. Oof. This back corner of fabric, I'm going to kind of pull it up and under. Okay, like that. So it sinks it. Because that hole, we didn't want to take and close it up, and sometimes stuff loves to kind of shift and do things we don't want it to do. Yeah, that's okay. Bring that up through that twist. I'd like to see this a little more there. So we'll bring that and put it right through there. And that just cinched that in a little nicer. Maybe. Now I want to put another stitch in. This is leading to a lot more stitches. But that's what you gotta do. That's what you gotta do. There. That's much better. Nice and tight. Alright. Come in, go under. Oh yeah. Come on. Go through the loop. We make our knot. Come back through. There. Nip it up. Alright. So we're going to raise it up. So here's our front. Okay. Now here's what I was going to show you on the back. Let's see if I can catch the light with it. And see how it kind of has a ripple here where you were stitching. Okay. Just kind of take off the thumb grippers. And what I want you to do is just kind of massage the edges. Might seem silly, but it's just where those pulls are, and now they're better. Not fabulous, but better. Okay, good. I'll take pictures of it after, but so I feel like there's a little dent here. So I'm going to show you the doll needle trick. So we're just going to go right in between all of those stitches and kind of crank on that spot. Just kind of try to fluff it out a little. And then you kind of just poke the stitches around that stitch where you dove into, and it disappears. Okay, let me do that again in another spot. Okay, that's not where I was. But these open stitches do lend themselves to really, because now you just push, push. Can't even see that I did it. Okay. push it back, push it back, push it back. All of them. Okay? I think it's pretty good. I see a couple spots that, but they're not too big and too lumpy, and they're pretty good. Again, I'm just gonna, there are times where I'm just like, walk away, Kelly, walk away. Because stuffing is what stuffing is. And it sometimes looks not too bad. Got a little kind of bump out here where that soft fluff is. So I'm wondering if as you went, if you put a layer of soft fluff and then did some of the dry stuff under it, I wonder if that would help with that issue. I'm always looking for new ways to improve things, trying things to make sure that they that there isn't something that makes more sense. So I love hearing what other people are doing and what they're using, because you never know where you're going to have that aha moment that just changes everything for how you do things. So, well, guys, that's the class tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to immediately start uploading this. Probably take until tomorrow, and I will get the cording class put up. Tomorrow I'm going to make all of the last couple of classes supply lists. So you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Julie.
You guys take care. Bye, Priscilla. Thank you, Margaret. Bye, Kim. Take care.
She's beautiful.
Oh, thank
This
you.
was great.
Oh,
Thank you.
good. So actually, before you go, did you have any questions for me? Can you think of any?
I do.
Okay.
I do. You were talking about some programs for the computer. You mentioned
Yep.
Publisher. Then you mentioned something else. And what was that?
So it's called Apache. I'm going to send the link along with the class link, and I'll mark it, because I also have a little video to watch on how to download it, so you don't download any of the stupid stuff that they try to get you to change your browser or any of that stuff. So you'll get at least 3 class links, and I might even link your just put attach the PDFs to it as well for the class supply. But yeah, it's called Apache, and it's free. So it works a little different, but I'd give you a tutorial on it. Okay? Anything else?
Thank you so much. This was so great.
Oh, great. I'm glad.
Great.
Oh, good. Good, good, good. All right. Well, you guys take care. I'm going to get home to my little dog. Are you going to do it? You're going to jump in?
Yeah.
All right.
With my friends at first, but I'm going to do it.
Well, if you need help, just message me. I'm more than happy to, if you go, oh man, I'm in a spot, I'll get on we'll do a little video call and I'll help you out, okay?
You're awesome. Thank you.
Take care, guys. Have a good night. Bye. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. There it is. And there we go. Stop virtual camera, close.